Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here. If you've ever stared at a computer screen just full of code and thought, what on earth is going on there? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to demystify programming. We're taking a journey from the very historical origins of one of the absolute most beloved programming languages in the world, all the way to writing and running your very first script. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's unlock the world of Python together. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet Python, the programming giant. Second, we'll look at why Python rules the world. Third, the tools of the trade. Fourth, setting up your environment. And finally, your very first Python project.
All right, part one, meet Python, the programming giant.
So before we write a single line of code, we really need to figure out what programming actually is, right? And who built this massive ecosystem we call Python? At its core, programming is honestly just writing down a set of instructions to automate tasks, manipulate data, or control a computer. You're basically just giving your machine a super specific to-do list. Now, what's a Python script? It's literally just a plain text file saved with a .py extension containing those instructions. And here's a really vital distinction. Unlike compiled languages, think C++ or Java, where the code has to be entirely translated into machine language before it can even run, Python is an interpreted scripting language. This means the computer reads and executes your instructions line by line, right on the spot. It makes it absolutely perfect for quick development and automation. And this brilliantly illustrates how Python came to be. I mean, you might think a language this powerful was cooked up by some massive tech corporation, right? But no. Back in 1989, a developer named Guido van Rossum conceived Python simply as a Christmas holiday hobby project while he was working in the Netherlands. By 1991, he put out the first official release, version 0.9.0. Fast forward a bit to 2008, and Python 3.0 drops, a major revision that really shaped the language we use right now. And looking at where we are in 2026, Python 3.14.3 is dominating as the current stable release. So yeah, from a holiday side project to a total global powerhouse. Now, I absolutely love this part. Fun fact, despite the famous logo, Python isn't actually named after a snake. Nope. Guido van Rossum was actually reading the published scripts from the classic British comedy series Monty Python's Flying Circus when he was implementing the language. He just wanted a name that was short, unique, and kind of mysterious. So he went with Python. I think it really shows the creator's great sense of humor, and honestly, you still see that playful vibe throughout the whole Python community today. Moving on to part two, why Python rules the world. As of 2026, Python is just undeniably the king of the programming landscape. And we really should understand exactly why so many massive companies and individual developers rely on it. So the crucial point is this crazy powerful combination of simplicity and capability. Python has a super clean, readable syntax that closely resembles natural human language, making it incredibly beginner-friendly. But hey, don't let that simplicity fool you. It completely dominates super complex fields like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. It also powers huge web frameworks like Django and FastAPI, and it is the absolute go-to tool for automating tedious tasks. It's trusted by tech giants everywhere. We're talking Google, Dropbox, IBM, Mozilla. It's easy enough for a middle schooler to pick up, yet robust enough to literally run Google's infrastructure. Another reason it rules is that Python constantly stays ahead of the curve by continuously evolving. Let's look at the recent release cycles. The current stable series is Python 3.14, with the 3.14.3 version having dropped in February 2026. This release brought some massive improvements to the table, including free-threaded support and huge performance optimizations. Meanwhile, previous versions like 3.13 and 3.12 are still fully supported with bug fixes and security maintenance. The Python Software Foundation just keeps a really steady, predictable schedule, which means developers always have a reliable and secure foundation to build on. All right, part three, tools of the trade. Okay, we know the why. Now, let's shift gears to the how. If you're going to be a developer, you need to gather your tools before you start building. And the absolute most important tool in your belt is your IDE. That stands for Integrated Development Environment. Basically, think of an IDE as your developer home base. It's software that automates code editing, provides syntax highlighting, which essentially just colors your code so it's way easier to read, offers intelligent code completion that actually guesses what you're trying to type, and it even includes real-time debugging tools. It basically acts acts as this smart assistant that formats your code and catches human errors as you type, which, trust me, will save you hours of frustration down the line. And when it comes to Python, there are two heavyweights you absolutely need to know about. On one side, we have PyCharm. PyCharm is a full-fledged professional environment right out of the box. It gives you deep code analysis and native support for big frameworks like Django. Now, on the other side, we have VS Code. VS Code is technically just an editor, but it's lightweight, incredibly fast, and highly customizable. By adding extensions, you transform it into a total powerhouse IDE. So PyCharm is fantastic if you just want everything set up for you perfectly from day one, while VS Code is totally the darling of minimalists who love to build out their own custom workflow. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer difference in footprint. PyCharm is definitely a heavier download, usually coming in at over 600 megabytes, and it definitely requires a bit more memory to run all its deep indexing. VS Code, however, is super nimble, downloading at under 200 megabytes. So if you're working on an older machine or you just want to get started instantly without waiting on a massive download, VS Code is incredibly appealing and super beginner-friendly. Which brings us to part 4, setting up your environment. We've talked the talk, but now it is time for you to cross the threshold and actually set up your own machine to write some code. Here is your step-by-step guide. Step 1. Just head over to python.org and download the latest Python installer for your specific operating system. Step 2, run the installer, and hey, this is absolutely crucial, make sure you check the little box that says Add Python to your system path before you hit install. Step 3, open your computer's terminal if you're on a Mac or Linux, or command prompt if you're on Windows. And step 4, verify the installation by typing py space -- version on Windows, or Python 3 space -- version on macOS or Linux. If you see the version number pop up right there, boom, congratulations, Python is ready to go. Now, I want to say a quick word on the terminal and the interactive shell, mostly because this can really intimidate beginners. The terminal is simply a command line window to interact with your operating system using text instead of a mouse. You know, it's that classic hacker screen you always see in movies, but really it's just a direct way to talk to your computer. The Python interactive shell is a mode you can run inside that terminal, and it allows you to type Python commands and see the results instantly, line by line. It is the perfect little sandbox for testing out quick ideas before you actually write them into a full script. And finally, part 5, your first Python project. All right, it is time for the ultimate trial of your new skills, writing and executing your very first script. But right before we type anything, I really wanted to share this fantastic quote from the Big Book of Small Python Projects. It says, "You don't need to be a computer genius to code fun and creative programs." I love that. I really want to reassure you that programming is highly accessible. By just using plain text and clear logic, you cut out all those visual distractions and get to focus purely on your own creativity and problem solving. But wait. Here's a super common question from beginners, especially those who might be coming from other languages. How do I compile my Python script before I run it? And the answer is, enthusiastically, you don't. Remember when we defined what Python was earlier? Python is an interpreted language. You do not need to manually compile it into machine code first, like you would have to with Java or C++. The Python interpreter software you just installed reads your script and runs it directly, line by line. This means you write the code, you save it, and you instantly run it. That feedback loop is incredibly fast, which is honestly exactly why Python is so beloved by developers everywhere. Okay, let's walk through the universal rite of passage for literally all programmers, the Hello World mini project. Step 1, open your IDE, whether you went with VS Code or PyCharm. Step 2, open a new file and type exactly this. Print, open parentheses, quote, hello world, quote, close parentheses. Step 3, save the file as hello.py. Now that .py extension is essential. Step 4, open your terminal, navigate over to where you saved the file, type python3 space hello.py and press enter. And just like that, the words hello world will print right out on your screen. You just commanded your computer to do something using real code. Look at that. You've installed the tools, you've learned the history, and you have written your very first script. You literally now have the power to write your own Python scripts to do virtually anything. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. What tedious task are you going to automate tomorrow? Because the possibilities are literally endless. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Get out there, start coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.